say. Seasons streaming and reviewing mods and video games. It sets the land in 7 seasons, centuries have passed. Until the day a hero named Merit of famous task. Dark gaming, we love to play video games. We'll keep playing until the early morning. Dark gaming, we explain mods and games. Deep dark gaming, stuff like girls and boys. As Mariner set off on his quest to illuminate a crew, the navigator joined the ranks and so did Mr. Q. Sailing for adventure, stories and for treasure. We will help you through, so climb aboard and join the crew. Deep dark gaming, we love to play video games. We'll keep playing until the early morning. Deep dark gaming, we explain mods and games. Deep dark gaming, we sell the games and more.
Ahoy! Or no, sorry. Man, it's about time I messed that one up that direction. Ahoy, divers, and welcome back to Deep Dive Gaming. I am Hiro, and we're going to discuss Final Fantasy III. Whoops, that was the wrong icon to take out. Once Tyrundeth arrives, I will post him. We are waiting on him to join the stream. So why we... Ahoy Twitch, ahoy YouTube, ahoy Mojo, and ahoy Hiro.
Hi.
Manor Kitty's around here somewhere. She's been distant of late. Like, I don't know if she's just tired of announcing herself. She's gotten more attention than she usually gets off stream, so she's content. I don't know what it is. Oh, and ahoy Foxy. So, shall we get started? I will play.
Hello. Shoot a text message real quick.
Oops. I need to hit mute. There we go. We don't need to have the game sound. We are the game sound.
Oh no.
We're doomed. Alright, so. Final Fantasy III. Let's see, you were reading the wiki last time. Should I read the wiki this time while we wait?
Might make it easier to flip-flop.
Final Fantasy III wiki. Should have brought this up sooner, but oh well. Put that there. And so, Final Fantasy III is the third installment in the Final Fantasy series, developed and published by Squaresoft, released in April of 1990. For Family Computer exclusively in Japan, later remade in 3D by Matrix Software, released worldwide by Nintendo DS, or for the Nintendo DS. Story revolves around 4 warriors of light, who begin as Onion Knights. Don't peel those onions. In the original release, although they are named Luneth, Arc, Refia, Ingus in the 3D remake, when they find the Wind Crystal, it grants them its power and instructs them to restore balance to the world. Classic trope. And then, let's see, this game introduces the job system in which the 4 characters can equip. Well, there's Mariner Kitty. One of... Where did I leave off? One of 23 jobs earned by fighting crystals or completing side quests. Jobs grant the player characters abilities such as magic and some special commands associated with specific jobs such as steal, not the metal but the swipey swipe stuff, associated with the thief, and jump associated with dragoon. Using a job for longer increases the character's stats, character's job level up, including blah 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 blah. Let's see, gameplay contains elements from the first Final Fantasy game along with some new features. The experience point system featured in the original returns. Final Fantasy III has a new class system, unlike the original Final Fantasy where the player chooses each character's class at the beginning. In Final Fantasy II, that has no specific classes. Final Fantasy III introduces the job system the series will later become famous for.
Hello,
Let's
Tyrundeth.
see. Ahoy Tyrundeth.
Hello, sorry I'm late.
How are you doing, sir?
He might be occupied.
I'd be better if I was actually at home.
Well, we're just reading from the wiki. If you have anything to throw in really quick on the Final Fantasy III, then I can read the synopsis.
No, I don't really have anything to add on that one.
All right, so synopsis. Trying to read it. Let's do story. There we go. Centuries ago, the ancients used the crystals of light to build an advanced civilization and triggered a cataclysmic flood of light. 4 warriors of darkness were selected to restore the balance, and the ancient civilization fell into ruin. The Gulgans, or however you want to pronounce that, predicted that history would repeat, and that 4 warriors of the light would be appointed to stop a flood of darkness. Many years later, an earthquake opens up an entrance to Altar Cave near the village of 4 orphaned youths, under the care of Topapa, the village elder, explore and find the crystal of wind that grants them a portion of its power and their first set of jobs, instructing them to go forth and restore world balance. Let's see. They got a remake paragraph here. I'm trying to determine if it's fully.
Does restructure the game a bit.
Yeah. See, it says in the remake, only Luna falls into the cave and is told to find the other warriors before being granted the crystal's power. He and his friend Ark visit Kazu's village cursed by the Jinn. They find Refia in Sid's airship. There's that name again. And all 3 journey to Castle Sasune to see the king and retrieve the mithril ring, kingly gift, needed to break the curse. They're granted an audience by the royal guard Ingus, who becomes their 4th companion. The king tells them to rescue his daughter, Princess Sarah Altney, who disappeared when the curse took hold. They entered the sealed cave and meet Princess Sarah, who left with the ring to stop the Jinn. They defeat him and she seals him with the ring. She returns to the castle with Lunith, Ark, Refia, and Ingus are transported to the Altar Cave. The Wind Crystal appoints them Warriors of Light and gives them their first set of jobs. Cutscene. That's usually where the introduction would fall. Dun, 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 yeah. Or if it were made in this day and age, after that big old long intro, that's when they would get to put in the title screen. Hi, Mariner Kitty. Mariner Kitty's getting pets. Because my hands are free.
Of course.
Squitch, 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 squitch. Do you want to take over from this point for a little bit, Hiro?
Yeah, sure. So after the introduction screen, back at Castle Sassoon, Princess Sarah uses the mithril ring to break the curse. The warriors return to Sid in Kazis. A boulder blocks the mountain pass to the rest of the continent, so he rams it with his airship, forcing the party to continue with him on foot. A journey to the town of Canaan and heal Mrs. Sid of an illness, then meet a girl named Selena who mourns the disappearance of her love, Desh. Since the party needs Desh's mini-spell, they search for him on Dragon's Peak. Bahamut abducts the warriors to feed his offspring, but they meet Desh in the dragon's nest and escape. He has lost his memory and joins the warriors in hope of regaining it.
Cool.
Using Desh's mini-spell, the group enters Tauzus, the village of gnomes. They pass through Tauzus Tunnel to reach Vikings Cove so they can acquire a ship. They find the Vikings in an uproar as their guardian, the Nepto dragon, is on a rampage and sinking ships. Party agrees to help. They journey to the Nepto temple and find the statue of the Nepto dragon is missing an eye. They shrink down to traverse the tunnels inside the temple walls and find the eye in a rat's hoard. They return the eye to the statue, which calms the dragon. In gratitude, the Vikings give them the ship, the Enterprise.
What?
Tyrundeth, would you like to take it from here? Or are you able to?
Captain's log, stardate.
No.
Stardate 4.
Right.
Yeah, again, this is another one of those that I never really got the chance to dip into, so that I wish I had more to say.
Yeah. Well, we'll get there.
Okay.
It's. I mean,
We'll get there.
the conversations, the input from those of us who've actually played these will actually come in when we get to games we've actually played. I'm sure this is educational for some who've never actually ever looked at these games, like myself.
All right.
So I was debating on continuing to read the synopsis or fast forwarding to talk about some of the development notes and release notes on the wiki, or if anyone in our chat has any contribution they want to make, go ahead and throw it in there.
I'll say that it looks like this follows pretty much the same, or not the same, but a similar pattern. Excuse me. Involving a lot of elemental things, the elemental crystals and things like that. I'd say that this probably follows that same pattern to restore balance by finding the crystals and such, solving problems. Is there something going on with your screen?
Yeah.
I looked over and it doesn't look like it's showing anything right now.
Oh, it may be that I need to. Let's see. I don't know. Are you talking like the game screen on the info desk is not
There
working?
it goes. The game wasn't showing. Now the game is gone. Now it's back.
Yeah, I wonder if it's. I wonder if I have to keep OBS or the video live. I don't know how long. Chat, help me out. How long was that blank?
It seemed to be blank for about a minute or more.
Okay.
But anyways,
I guess I'll just have to keep clicking back and forth between OBS and Chrome to make sure that.
yeah, it looks like Final Fantasy III is pretty much where the generic formula for a lot of the Final Fantasy games comes from, where you're talking about crystals and elements and rebalancing the world. This is the first time that I've actually seen them reference both Warriors of Light and Warriors of Dark, which, again, that's a teaser for future statements there when we talk about Final Fantasy XIV, because I've heard so much about Final Fantasy XIV from various sources.
Yeah, it's going to be a recurring theme.
Yeah, it doesn't recur nearly as much as as some people think, but it definitely comes back quite a few times, and it kind of seems to create the overarching story, though that would be after the fact.
So what you're saying is Final Fantasy is a series of recursive loops.
To some degree.
It's a programmer's
To some
gag.
degree. Yeah. It definitely is. But definitely
We're
to some
venturing
degree.
into spoiler territory with that, by the way, Mariner. I wish I could say more than that.
Ooh. Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to dance around it like, you know, like a fire dancer on hot coals.
Mariner accidentally spoils the entire series, the entire idea behind Final Fantasy.
I'm actually excited to see the direction they go with it, honestly, because they They're doing kind of the same thing that Zelda did, where there was never, for 20, almost 30 years, there was never an actual cohesive storyline. And then out of nowhere, they decided to create a storyline out of, well, a bunch of randomness.
Yeah. Did they succeed? Did the people buy the story created out of randomness? Because that's the mark of true genius. When you get that, when you are able to take disjointed, independent stories and make them a cohesive whole.
Yeah, I think they succeeded with Zelda, and there is a very, very good possibility that they're going to succeed if they haven't already with Final Fantasy.
Hmm.
Though there's a lot of people that criticize both franchises for trying. But hey, what
It could
That
be
was a wonderful series with the blue box. Spoilers.
could be a preview of a future deep dive gaming, deep dive streaming series talking about Zelda. But we'll talk about that later.
of course.
Mojo, good point. True genius or crazy?
The only correct answer to that is yes.
Indeed. This is either madness or genius. You'd be surprised how often those two adjectives coincide, or whatever the line was.
Absolutely. So rather than just continue reading this, because there's actually more story here than there was in Final Fantasy II.
Yeah, I was looking ahead and I'm like going, while it could be conducive to the stream length that we read this entire thing, there's not going to spark a lot of conversation if we continue to read it. So,
Right.
let's see. I'll read a little bit of the development stuff. We've already
That's fine.
established Final Fantasy III is visually similar, uses similar graphic systems to 1 and 2, expands the gameplay. First game in the series to feature auto-targeting. That's new. Famicom version eliminates the previous game's text-heavy battle presentation. One notable stylistic change is that the background of all windows and menus is blue rather than black, which would become a staple. Another major gameplay enhancement of Final Fantasy III is the first title in the series to feature characters who have unique battle commands such as summon, throw, and jump.
Ah.
And a little bit of history here. At the time of the release of Final Fantasy III, Square was working to catch up on the new technology as Super Nintendo had just been released, that they didn't have enough manpower to work on an English version. Final Fantasy III is one of the largest RPGs developed for the NES Famicom platform. The volume of content was so large the cartridge was completely full, and when new platforms emerged, there wasn't enough storage space available for an update requiring new graphics, music, or other contents. It wasn't until Nintendo DS came out that they could remake it for other systems. Interesting.
Basically.
How much room was on an original NES cartridge?
I don't recall. I was actually just thinking of that. Let me look. Between 24 kilobytes and 1 megabyte.
Woof.
Yeah.
In today's man, I can't talk. In this day and age, that's about the equivalent of a grain of sand on a beach.
Pretty much.
That's small enough. I missed it. What was that again?
And we were talking about the amount of storage on an NES cartridge, and the answer is between 24 kilobytes and 1 megabyte.
Which I compared to a grain of sand on the beach in today's age of technology.
Yeah.
I state again. That's small enough. I missed it. What was that again?
Well played. Everybody's phone is bigger than that, Mojo.
Ah,
Let's see. So, let's see. There was apparently a canceled Wonder Swan Color version. In December 1999, Bandai, the maker of handheld Wonder Swan Color, a console I have never heard of, struck a deal with Squaresoft to bring their games to the console. Among the first projects announced were the remakes of the first 3 Final Fantasy games. However, Wonder Swan version of Final Fantasy III never saw the light of day, despite shown on the official Squaresoft site. Wonder Swan version of Final Fantasy III was set to be released in December 2001, but never came out. While a port of Final Fantasy IV was released later, Square remained silent regarding Final Fantasy III. Although the game was never formally canceled, the official website was taken offline once production of the console ceased in 2002. This canceled version seems to be the base for the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster series release of Final Fantasy III.
Never heard of the Wonder Swan.
Me either. This is the first time I've been introduced to it. And then, of course, we've got the Nintendo DS version from 2004. In 2004 it was decided to be remade, considering developing it for PlayStation 2, but Nintendo asked Square to make Final Fantasy III on their newest handheld console, the Nintendo DS, instead.
So looking at the Wonder Swan, now that I see it, it does basically, it's a handheld console that I think only released in Japan from the looks of it. And it literally looks like one of those miniature digital cameras from the early to mid 2000s.
Huh.
Yeah, it literally looks like one of those digital cameras.
Send me a link and I'll post it on the chat.
Sure. Let me copy link. I'm going to drop it in our little chat that we have going on here. There you go. It's in the voice chat.
Got it. And then putting it there. And then I'm going to bring this up so I can see what we're talking about, because I'd be curious. Oh yeah, I kind of see the similarity.
Legitimately looks like a digital camera, micro digital camera. Hi, puppy.
How do you fit things on a screen that small?
I don't even know what the cartridges look like either. Get off of me, puppy. I see you. I see you. I see you.
There's an image further down the list if you do a Google search. It looks like a stick of SO-DIM, actually.
Soda? Really?
Yeah.
Let me see.
About that size or smaller.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Oh, wow. It looks like an SD card. The cartridge looks like an SD card. Oh, okay. Never mind. Never mind. I was looking at something else. Yeah, no, it does look like SO-DIM.
SO-DIM, for those who are not aware, is memory that is used in laptops. Since full-size memory sticks will not fit.
Actually, not to disagree, but yes, SO-DIM is one of the laptop formats for memory, but I think they've also changed their the format recently, though I'm not 100% sure.
If it's recent, it's still in research and development, because current gen laptops still use SO-DIM.
Okay. Yeah.
Or at least the high-end ones.
I've seen so many different types of RAM in recent history that I just have really forgotten what's what anymore.
But you forget what industry I'm in, and we're not telling people what it is either.
Mhm.
You know,
Fair
but
enough.
you're a special privileged person.
Such is life.
Oh wow!
And you would
Check out
certainly
the
have the instant effect on that.
check out the whoops!
Hey,
Thank you for
hey,
the bits,
Tyrundeth. What's
Tyrundeth.
100?
Yeah. But did you see what happened on the video feed? Video, or you might just now be seeing it, where they angled the terrain when you were on that flying ship, or they
Yes,
angled
I
the
did
map.
see
That
that.
was cool. I was not expecting something from
I'm
that far
pretty sure
back.
introduced in this.
Yeah, I'm definitely seeing some new stuff. Like, I did not know that they had that like sort of map angle until SNES, because the first time I'd seen it was the map for Link to the Past. Yeah, that was it. Speaking of Zelda, I've not been able to cycle back around to any of the Zelda games. I started the N64 game and then got distracted by Satisfactory. That's a good time. That's a good time
Squirrel.
eater if you have time to burn. And if you don't, even if
Yeah.
you don't have time to burn, you'll find yourself burning it on a Satisfactory.
That sounds like a rather satisfactory conclusion.
Yeah, it's the puns are abundant with that game.
Mm-hmm. Undoubtedly.
So, let's see. Let's continue our history lesson here.
Of course, of course. So the DS version.
Akihito Yoshida revamped the original character designs. Main characters were given backstories, personalities, and default names. Even though the characters were given background development, it does not change the main storyline. Overall overhauls. Wow, that's a word. Overhauls were made to the job system, including rebalancing of the classes, the addition of new abilities, the removal of capacity points, and a new bear (parentheses freelancer in the US version) class as the new default class, with the Onion Knight becoming a separate class. Unlike the original Famicom version, most of the jobs remain useful. The ultimate jobs, the Ninja and Sage, are rebalanced to stay on the same level as the others. Let's see, what do we got? Let's see, Nintendo and Square worked closely on bringing Final Fantasy III to DS, but since it was the first time Square had made a game for the console, they had to start from scratch. Square collaborated with a company called Matrix Software and used an original game engine created for Final Fantasy III. That's cool. Bethesda, if you're out there, take a hint. The game made use of DS's Wi-Fi capabilities through an email system known as Magnet, in a nod to the similar system in Final Fantasy IX for players to exchange messages through Wi-Fi communications. Let's see.
Moogles.
Let's see. Original libraries. Nintendo gave Square didn't include a system for communicating with people who are offline, so Square made a new library for DS, allowing players to send a text letter like an email, which was stored on a server, and when the other person got online, they received the message. The first spam was made.
Right.
With DS remake of Final Fantasy III, Square wanted to keep both parties happy. The old fans in the Japanese market who played the original, as well as the new players for whom the DS version would be their first touch of Final Fantasy III, or with Final Fantasy III. For the old fans, Square didn't want to offer huge changes, but the Western players, they didn't want it to feel like an old-fashioned game. The DS remake is released in the United States November 14th, 2006. Enemies were stronger in the original, but by the release of the subsequent remake, Final Fantasy IV, the increased ROM size allowed the developers to retain the original number of enemies in a group. Ooh. Then there's information on iOS, Android release, PlayStation Portable release. Kindle Fire? What?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Windows Phone. That
Is-
lasted about a year. Steam.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh, that's cool. As part of its Final Fantasy 25th anniversary celebration, Square Enix released a novelization of the first 3 Final Fantasy games. The novelization, titled Fantasy 1, 2, and 3 Memory of Heroes, was released in the fall of 2012 in Japan and 2022 in other regions. The novelization uses the characters from 3D Remake. Ooh, I have some reading to do. Or a wish list to make.
Right?
That'll save a lot of time. Winry asked me today if I was playing all of the games in the series, and I was like, no, that would take years. As it is, the one game I want to play could take weeks. And I'm still undecided on whether I want to do Final Fantasy 6 or 7. I want to do 7 because I've started it and I want to see how it ends. I want to do 6 because it's a callback to a previous look and style of gaming, but I'm afraid I'll get bored with it and want to do something else.
Well,
I'm going to warn you now, Mariner, and this
Uh-huh.
was my case with Final Fantasy VII. I filled the clock, and I wasn't even halfway done playing the game.
I don't know that expression. Filled the clock?
you rolled the clock over. There is
Oh.
there's a software limit on the time calculation, and he rolled it over.
Oh. There's that
Which,
much to do in Final Fantasy
surprisingly-
VII.
Which surprisingly did not break the game.
No, it actually just stops counting.
Yeah, it just stopped counting. It did not break the game, surprisingly. In some games, in some older games, it would have. Mind you, that was back on the PlayStation era. So it's a little bit different with the current version of Final Fantasy VII, both on Steam and on console.
Yeah.
Keep in mind he's talking original game, not the remake.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, that's
there's an
etiquette.
original version on Steam, and then of course there's the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Yeah.
Which,
I have the OG Steam version.
I was like I've said before, I was unable to play the OG version. Nostalgia glasses, the nostalgia goggles were not strong enough for me to handle it.
Like I said, I think I got out of the city the first time I tried to play the OG, and then I got distracted by some other game.
Nope, cat, nope.
I'm betting it was Fallout.
It might have been. I think it was it might have been. Well, it might have been about a year before I seriously got into Fallout. So it might have been. I don't know. It could have been. It could have been anything on the PS4. Because I was still I was still playing PS4 about that time. I was only just getting into PC gaming at that time.
If it'll keep you off my keyboard, Cairo, I will pet you.
Deploy decoy keyboard. The only reason I do that is my
I
cats.
saw a thing recently that was epic. It was basically a clear shelf that
Yes, I
the
think I
lady
saw
put
the
over
same
the
image.
keyboard,
Yeah.
and the cat is just sitting there on it, like, really, Sharon?
Yes, I've seen a couple of different ones, including that one.
Yeah. I like the hover cat where there's a coffee table and it's glass that the cat's sitting on, and you get a picture of just like the lower angle of the cat. It
Yeah,
looks so funny.
it's not. It's rare that you get to see the bottom of the loaf.
Yes. My
Let's see.
daughter has started accusing our cats of loafing. Stop
Oh,
loafing. No, no, you don't tell them to stop. You just call them cat loaf. All right.
so
Proven fact: cats are liquid. They fit into any container they choose to get into.
actually, they're more of a plasma based. They're neither solid nor liquid.
Yeah.
And we've squirreled away again from our original topic, sirs.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, we have.
Stream of consciousness. Okay, so I'm trying to look. I'm looking at this page. I'm not seeing anything else of note. We could. Well, it's too late to move on to Final Fantasy IV. But
Hmm.
trying to think. Ba, 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 ba. We could do a breakdown of the. Maybe not.
Let's see. Still Wonderswan. That is just bizarre. I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah. Um.
This is actually the one that introduced the original job system as well, where you can
Yes.
change the characters' classes.
Do you want to
Yes,
talk
we
about the?
did.
Do you want to talk about the
We
job
did.
system a bit? Because we didn't get that much, really that much detail about what it involved, other than what some of the different jobs are.
Although I will, as you're getting ready to gear up for that, I will make mention that Onion Knight is a class that has, or is a job that has appeared across several media, and even in the original Final Fantasy III, the armor of the Onion Knight is very reminiscent of a bulb of onion, and it's hilarious. And you see, one that comes to mind is one of the recurring characters in Dark Souls wears armor that looks very similar to the Onion Knight armor in Final Fantasy III. And I think it also makes a reappearance in Elden Ring. I can't remember for sure, but I want to say it does. Or at least that character does make an appearance in Elden Ring. So, hey, Easter eggs.
Yeah. Mojo apparently didn't hear us say Onion Knight earlier, so I'm verifying. She says, sounds like a character from Overcooked.
Yes, Onion Knight.
I was wondering if it was a translation from the original Japanese that didn't quite work out in their favor.
Let me scroll back. I think they make some mention of it. Scrolling back. Okay, so in the original, in the Famicom version, the Onion Knights are not named. The manga serialization names them Mushi. Oh wait, no. No, never mind.
Those are, yeah, I think those are individual knighted,
Those
like
are individual names. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, granted the power to save the world. Assume that shows
Oh,
joined
excuse
by
me.
several supporting characters who do not fight but offer help. Okay, scrolling back up further. The original Famicom version introduced the earliest form of the job system, which has since become something of a Final Fantasy staple. Here you go. The story revolves around four warriors of light who begin as Onion Knights in the original release. They were not originally named, by the way. That's a little bit of a tidbit. But in the remake, they're given names. Anyways, go ahead. Discuss the job system a little bit, Tyrundeth.
Well, in this particular case, like I said, it's the original uh, iteration of said job system. Oh, one sec.
Uh,
Tyrundeth is juggling many conversations at the same time, it looks like.
so it seems.
Yeah. Apparently, I think the job system is its layered topic.
It is
To borrow
certainly.
Mojo's joke there.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Sorry about that, guys. I am technically at work, so.
Ah.
Forgiven.
Uh, but yeah, it's as you leveled up, they did have a thing where it would cost less to change to the class in the middle of battle. This the way it seems on here. I don't know if this was the one that allowed you to change in the middle of battle or not. The higher level of the class, the less it costed, and obviously you had access to bigger and better selved weapons abilities.
Right.
There was something else, and I totally got derailed on it. Oh, that's what it was. This would later come to make it a lot easier for those of us who play MMOs and have this chronic condition called alcoholicism, where we would no longer have to make a new character to have a different way to play the game.
Oh,
But that's a
alcoholism.
story for another day.
Altaholic, yes. Your feed has dropped again.
Oh shoot, I'm bouncing between different windows again. Sorry, I got distracted.
Yes, you're all right.
Cool, but I'll use my other computer for looking up information. I was looking up. So, main characters for Final Fantasy III include the Warriors of Light, like we've discussed, Lunith, Arcarethia, and Ingus. We can do a quick follow up on them. Personality. Lunith as a light. These two other characters describe Lunith as a light of courage. Sure enough, his tendency to travel recklessly leads him to the Wind Crystal. He frequently jumps into situations despite the dangers. He is cheerful and positive, but can be too impulsive or blunt, leading his allies to scold him. Luneth and Ingus argue in the opening FMV, reflecting their opposite personalities, but while the party travels a cave, Ingus saves Luneth from falling off a cliff. Luneth assumes the de facto leader role, speaking on behalf of the team and motivating them to continue on their quests. His defending arc from the bullies of Earth shows he is a leader-like figure among the children. He is confident, but not to the point of arrogance. Luneth is determined to fulfill his goals and keep his promises, getting upset when he believes he's failed someone. He treats everyone in an equal manner, including royalty, and has no qualms about helping strangers. He encourages those more timid than himself. This, combined with his determined and more outgoing nature, help him become a pillar of support for the party. And then we have Ark. Light of kindness made clear when the party meets Alice Ristor in Wharton Saronia. Ark can relate to the young prince, as he himself initially lacked self-confidence and believed himself to be cowardly. While Ark lacks in strength, he makes up for it in intelligence. Despite his shyness, Ark is noble and helps those in need. Then we have Refia. Refia as light of affection. Oh, they have different light. Okay, so Luneth. Hang on a second. I'm going to back up and do that again. So Luneth is light of courage. Ark is. Where'd it go? Light of kindness. Refia, light of affection, as the sole female of the party. Refia is more of a motherly character than a love interest and scolds her companions for their unruly behavior. Refia has a rebellious streak, like her habit of escaping her father's blacksmith training, but deep down she cares for him and is at first torn between joining her allies or staying in Kazus. And then we have Ingus, who is light of determination. He takes his responsibility as a knight of Sasune seriously, particularly his duty to guard the Princess Sarah Altney. Though Sarah's feelings for him and several people in the castle imply he returns them, Ingus does not openly show affection toward her and tries to behave only as her loyal knight. Ingus escaped the curse of the kingdom because he was away from the castle to train on his own. He speaks in much more elegant and formal manner than the other three orphans and positions himself as the elder of the group when he calls them younglings. He prefers to analyze the situation before taking action and doesn't hesitate to scold Luneth for being reckless or insensitive. He is depicted as the steersman of the airship in the opening FMV, reflecting his position as the responsible member of the group. Wahaha. And then there's guest characters. We got Sarah Altney, we got Sid Hayes, Desh, Arya Bennett, Alice Ristor, Une, and Doga. Any others? Let's see. Okay.
Yeah, fun fact, the Onion Knight, or some form of the Onion Knight, has featured across almost every Final Fantasy game since Final Fantasy III. And it's basically your starter job class, and it's meant to be a very basic class with basic combat abilities. And its ultimate feature is that all base stats are increased based on the number of mastered jobs that your character has. And then, of course, it doesn't get any armor specialties except for the onion armor.
Does it make your enemies cry?
Oh, it can, but not in the way you're thinking.
I think he's thinking the onion ninjas.
The onion ninjas.
Well, you don't want to use a sword on it. You don't want to use a sword on an onion. The chopping will cause chemical release.
Oh, yes. Chemical releases in potential tears.
How many more onion puns can we come up with?
Probably enough.
Let's see. I'm running out of things to talk about. And we were worried this was going to be a deep topic.
Well, I mean, we tried to not go too far into it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think we got a good balance going on here.
Yeah, I'm.
It doesn't help. It
through,
doesn't help that none of us have actually played this one. But yeah,
I don't think any of us played any of the first ones except for maybe Mojo.
Yeah, we've got 3 more games to go before we get into some real good talk.
Sorry about that.
Let's see.
8-bit theater. Wow. Oh, wow. Okay, so some of this is going into the Easter eggs of the Bravely series, which is hilarious.
Bravely series?
Yes, so it's the Bravely default series is not it's not Final Fantasy, but it's very, very Final Fantasy based and inspired. Like down to even the entire job system is very much the same as Final Fantasy. I think it was made by Square, and I think the dev team is from the Final Fantasy dev team, and they have a lot of enemy crossovers, a lot of theme crossovers with crystals, with elemental crystals and things like that. Even the theme of the quote-unquote Onion Knight, I'm using air quotes if you can't hear that. But the Onion Knight is actually also the is the base class, but it's called what was it called? Vagrant or something like that. I can't remember exactly what they call the base class, but the base class, if you max out all the other job classes, its base ability is, or its special ability is that all stats of the character will be increased based on the number of mastered jobs. If you max out all of your jobs, your base class does an absolute ridiculous amount of damage, even though it doesn't have any special attacks.
Real quick, Foxy Curious in the Twitch chat says, so in 14, Onion Knight was from the fallen Allegan Empire. A wind-up Onion Knight minion is available as a reward.
Yep.
How big
It's
is it?
even
I wouldn't
in,
want to
like-
accidentally use it in my burger.
I have in fact, the Onion Knight garb appears in the Bravely series as a special purchase. The Onion Knight is called Onion Warrior in Legend of Mana. There's 8-bit theater, an Onion Kid appears. Yeah, so Onion Knight makes a lot of appearances across many things in media.
That's funny.
The lines from Shrek. Um,
Well, guys, should we start wrapping it up?
It is getting to be about that time, isn't it?
Yeah,
yeah, it sure is.
I would say I could go longer tonight, but it doesn't sound like we have the content for it. So,
Yeah,
Um,
let's not drag it out too far.
yeah.
It does now.
So, anyways, be sure to check out Hiro on Lagging Out Live Friday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock Pacific. There's a link to Tyrundeth's link tree in the chat, both on YouTube and Twitch. Check out his schedule and see when he's streaming next. Give him a follow if you haven't already.
Thursday.
Thursday?
Yep.
Are you streaming before or after my stream?
Usually starts toward the end of yours and then continues on most of the night.
Okay, we'll see. If I had better control over the Lagging Out stream, I would try and do a raid, but I'll see if I can maybe wrangle Chieftain on that topic tomorrow night when Hiro and I talk to
It's
him.
pretty easy. I can show you how to do it later.
Right, but you have to
but
have
he'll
chat
still
commands.
need to be a mod.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's fair.
So we'll see if we can wrangle that ability tomorrow night. Otherwise, let's see. Yes, and then I will be back tomorrow night for more Mass Effect 3 with Mojo. And then, Hiro, you got anything going on or anything you want to plug before we sign off?
I will plug the Lagging Out podcast or the Lagging Out Entertainment's website.
Ooh, there we go.
You can drop the link to that, can't you, Mariner? Because I sure
can
can.
totally drop the link to that. Stay
Speaking of,
tuned.
has the new merch dropped?
It should.
I don't think it has quite yet. Let me go take a peek see. Also accessible through the Lagging Out website. Hit the lag swag button at the top. And I'm not seeing the new t-shirts dropped yet. I'm still seeing some of the Soda Pop merch though. Not the shirt though. Oh no, the Woe Dude, yep, Woe Dude sold out. Or ceased to be made, either way. Alright. So I think that is it. Thank you, Tyrundeth, for joining. Thank you, Hiro, again, as usual.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everyone in the chat, for hanging out with us and giving input. Until tomorrow night, enjoy Final Fantasy. Fair winds and fun gaming, y'all. Bye-bye.
Have a good night, guys.
Bye-bye.